Hello and welcome back. In the last few sections, we've been focusing on the API development and setting up the API server, right? And the API endpoints. We also went ahead and set up an API endpoint to test our API server is working fine or not. In case if you are wondering how these logs are coming here in this particular format, I've actually installed an extension here, and I think that's called Turbo Log or something like that. Yeah, this is the one, Turbo Console Log. You can go ahead and install that, and you should be able to essentially see this kind of logging. Okay, and that's also a lot of big time saver. All right, what we're going to do next is we'll head over to Mongo. Mongo is essentially a cloud database. It's available on the cloud as a service, and we can essentially use the free tier of the cloud service in this project. Okay, so let's head over to cloud.mongodb.com. okay, and in here it'll ask us to log in, but first we have to go ahead and sign up. I'll go ahead and sign up, and I'll have to give my email ID here. So let me go ahead and sign up with my email address, choose the country of operation and accept the policies. I think phone number is not optional, it's going to be mandatory here. Okay, so let me go ahead and give phone number and company. Okay, go ahead and sign up. Alright, after signing up, it's asking me to set up an organization. I'm going to go ahead and say Indie Cafe here. Okay, and same for project, Indie Cafe. And what is your preferred language? I'm going to go ahead and choose JavaScript here. Okay, because we'll be using Node.js. Say continue. Just not taking, moving forward. Okay, there we go. So after this, we actually get three options. Two of them are paid options. I don't want those things for the purposes of our project. We'll just go ahead and create a cluster for free here. We'll start free, okay? Let's say create a cluster, and it'll ask you which provider you want to be hosted on. I will go ahead with the default, which is AWS and Northeast Virginia region, okay? And after this, and I'll take all the other essentially defaults here in terms of the cluster tier, which is encrypted, which is great, right? I don't want to go ahead and change or customize any of those settings. So I'm going to go ahead and create cluster. This is going to take a little while actually. So it says it takes about 1 to 3 minutes, and generally it could take slightly more than that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video here and then come back once it's done. Alright, our cluster is finally created here after a few minutes. And the next thing that we can do here is go ahead and look at the network access. We want to make sure our instance of MongoDB is actually available to us. So essentially we have to configure an IP address here. So I'm going to go ahead and say add IP address, and it'll ask me whether you want to add the current IP address or allow access from anywhere. So what I'm going to do is, for the purposes of the immediate interest, right, in the short term, I'm going to say allow access from anywhere, and eventually when we finish the project, we want to go ahead and essentially harden this by saying specifying a particular IP address. Okay, so let's see, I'm going to say go ahead and confirm. It says this entry is temporary and will be deleted in 6 hours. I'm not going to enable this. If I do this, it's going to be deleted after 6 hours. I don't want to do that for now. I'm going to go ahead and confirm this. Okay, so this is going to take a while, and while it's doing its stuff, let's go back to the database access. We need to create a user now. So I'll go ahead and create a new user. What can we do here? So essentially we want to create a new user, Indie Cafe. I'll name it Indie Cafe. So let's go ahead and create a password here. I'll just go ahead and auto-generate this password. I need to go ahead and copy this. Essentially you can show it, and then you don't have to show it to copy it. You can copy it without showing it. We just want to make sure this is how it would be. Alright, I mean, just want to demonstrate that, this is going to be a random string that gets auto-generated for you by MongoDB. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and copy both of these credentials here, including the user. Okay, and let's see what else can we do here. In here, we can also set the privileges. Right now it says read and write to any database, and I'm going to go ahead and retain that option. You have a few more powerful options as well, which is Atlas Admin. I don't want to essentially give that. I'm going to, if I choose Atlas Admin, yeah, it's going to be super user essentially. Okay, so I'll choose the second one, which is read and write to any database. And I don't want the user to be having all the privileges and be a kind of all-powerful user. Okay, and I don't want to set the other settings here. This is not a temporary user, it's going to be a permanent user. And I'm going to say, go ahead and create this user now. Okay, hopefully that should be quick enough. All right, so this is created. Super. And now if I go to the clusters, let's go to the clusters here. Okay, and in here, let's go ahead and create the connect, and it should show some window here shortly. Yeah, there we go. And it gives us an option to connect in different ways. One is for the Mongo shell, which is essentially the client you use on our desktops or laptops, wherever you're doing the development, to connect to the remote MongoDB server. Okay, and then it also gives us connect through your Mongo application. Let's take a look at it. And you can also generate the full driver code sample here. So if you click this here, it actually gives you something like this. Okay, I do not want it right now. I just need the string. I'm going to go ahead and copy this. Essentially, what you have to do is when we use this string, we have to place this particular password here, the password we created in the previous step. Okay, let's go ahead and copy this. I'm going to go ahead and copy that on my notepad or something of that sort. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and close this now. Okay, so our MongoDB is set, or we have the user set up, we have the access permission set up, right? And I think this is good to go for now. Okay, so we have an organization set up, we have a project set up here. Okay, and next we're going to do is we're going to have another tool that we're going to be using to connect to MongoDB for the purposes of querying. Okay, because we cannot come here every time to query MongoDB tables or collections, right? So right now we don't have any collections, mind you, so it's currently empty. It is not showing any collections. Generally, if it was something, it would show up here. Okay, right now there's no collections here. So we're going to create a few of them as we go along. So another tool that I want to take you through, or I would be using during the course of this exercise, would be Robo3T. Okay, it's a very handy client application, which is essentially open source MongoDB UI. Okay, and you can go ahead and download this. It's very handy. I've already done this, and installation of this again is pretty straightforward. Okay, and so I'll be using 3T here. There is also a Studio 3T. I think it's a paid version beyond a 30-day free trial. Okay, so but the 3T is Robo3T is actually free software, and I've already installed that here. So let me go ahead and bring that up. That's the one, Robo3T. Yeah, this is better. And this is going to essentially this opened up this window here. And right now I don't have any. I need to create an entry for my new DB connection. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say go ahead and create a new connection. And here it says SRV. Okay, and so what we have to do is, remember, we actually copied a connection string a while ago. Okay, what we can do is I'm going to go ahead and copy that string and paste it in here. Okay, and we also have to copy the password in here. Okay, and I'm also going to go ahead and do that. And again, I know this is being shown to you live, but the thing is that I'm going to rotate this password after this lecture is over. Okay, so let's go ahead and say click on from SRV, and it's going to populate all the stuff here. Okay, it's going to populate this particular thing. I'll say Indie Cafe here. Okay, and under the authentication table, it's all populated, pre-populated. You don't have to do much at all, okay? So even here, you don't have to touch any of these settings, all right? So in here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say test. Hopefully that's going to give me a green tick. Generally it takes a while. All right, so our connection is successful here. This is nice, right? So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and save this setup. So every time I come in here, I just have to click on this and say connect. And let's see if it connects right now. Should be able to connect because our test actually went through just fine. All right, let me drag the window here from another screen. So essentially we are connected to our database on cloud. Okay, right now we don't have any collections, so it doesn't necessarily give us anything, any kind of view, but essentially we are connected here. So we're good here, guys. And the next thing I want to do is we want to essentially connect our app to the MongoDB on cloud. Okay, so to do that, we need to do a few things here. We'll take a brief pause and come back and do the connectivity operations from our Node.js Express server to Mongo. Okay, we'll set that connection up and move forward from there. Okay, take a brief pause, come back soon.